Hello and welcome back to our wonderful couch of awesome. And we're here today with the fantastic Sinead Crowley here to launch and celebrate her fantastic book 3. Sergeant Claire Boyle is back. It's kind of like, first of all, we haven't had the chats before on the couch. The becoming an author, having had a long career in the culture and the arts and writing, journalism and all that. Was the author thing always there in the back of your head?
Long career, yeah.
Long, do you see what I did there? Well, it's going to get longer when I mention you two later, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is the writing came first. You know, I was the kid, and I think most authors say this when you ask them. I was the kid who went to the library early and, was fascinated by books and always thought one day I'd like to see my name on that. Yeah. But, it's not so easy to leave school and suddenly become an author, so I figured journalism might be a way in. And then I actually ended up liking journalism an awful lot, so took the kind of circuitous route, and I've been a journalist since I left school. I actually started working for the Northside People back in 1992, before I even left college, so keep it nice and local. Yeah. But I then moved around the country, Clare FM, Radio Kerry, before I came back to RTE. But the idea of writing a book was always there, and I was still writing short stories and tried a novel. I mean, I did finish a novel in my late 20s, and it wasn't very good. So it's in a drawer. I think it's on a disc somewhere. Yeah. But I knew I had the discipline to do it, so I was just waiting for the idea. So it was many years later before the idea for, this series came about, Detective Sergeant Claire Boyle, and thankfully it now has worked out. So I have the two lives. I'm like, where's the gummidge with the two heads?
Fantastic. Yeah. And the to go this way, as in to go into this genre, why thrillers, why crime thrillers, and what appealed to you?
Well, the thing is, it's the book that worked. I always wanted to write. I tried kind of literary short stories that we probably always do when we're starting off. Tried a book that was kind of commercial women's fiction, but it just didn't work. And the fact of the matter is, crime is what I read. When I go on holidays, I have the big stack of crime and thrillers, and that's what I want to read. So I suppose you should be true to what you like, really. And then the first book is about murder on a parenting website, and the idea came to me literally when I was expecting my first child. So that's the way it worked out. I always wanted to write a book, but it wasn't until then that I actually got the idea. And then this character, Detective Sergeant Claire Boyle, just kind of arrived because I wrote the first book without a main police character, but I was speaking to my agent and she said, look, could it be a series, could you bump up this character, she's very interesting. And the more I started to write about Claire, the more I started to write her, and now she's a series character.
And how we were discussing, how has she grown as a character? How have you found surprising things about her? Is there kind of...
Well, the fact that she's there at all is surprising, given that I thought I was writing a standalone psychological thriller, and then it turns out I'm writing a police procedural series. But she was pregnant in the first book, because the first book, as I say, is about a parenting website. So automatically babies then arrive after pregnancy. So in the second book she's got a 6-month-old, and in the third book, in this book One Bad Turn, she's got an 18-month-old. And that child gets very crucially involved in the action very early on, because Claire herself gets involved in the action on a day off, and she has her baby with her. So that kind of ramps it all up a bit. And that's been really interesting, because I didn't set out to write a book about a working mother, but that's how it has evolved. Because she has a child, she's really good at her job, she loves her job. The plan at home was that the father would be the main parent in the home. He's now 18 months into it, starting to rebel against this a little bit. So interesting, it's turned out that I am writing about this woman who's kind of, I'm not going to use the word juggling, because I'm not a clown, but she is combining work and motherhood, and that's working out actually okay for her, but not quite so well as for her husband. So that's how that's going on.
And you said the word juggling there because you yourself are juggling. So not only are so you're author, you're a mother, and you also now obviously still are doing the journalism. And it was funny, we had Etna Shortland in last week, and I was asking her about the whole, is a gamekeeper going poacher? So how have you found the transition from being a journalist and interviewing all these amazing authors to now you're one of them, and suddenly is it a moment of, I kind of get it now?
I think it helped. I've been a journalist for many years, but I've been an arts correspondent with RTE for 10 years. And I think what really helped was interviewing authors and getting to know them showed me that they're real people. Because I think before you've written a book, you think they're all sitting in a garret waiting for inspiration to strike. But actually covering things like the book awards, they're lovely, genuine people. So it did make it a little bit more accessible in that sense. And I suppose combining the two, then it's literally a case of using the brain a different way, because being a journalist is very collaborative. It's very busy, it's very noisy in that sense. You're out, you're meeting people, you're working in a busy newsroom, which is great. But writing a book, it's just you. So it's a thing where you can literally turn the Wi-Fi off if you have the discipline, put the kids to bed and open up the laptop and it's just you. So it's actually quite a nice combination if you can work it like
that. I've seen interviews with you before, and I have to refer to the U2 factor. So this year is the anniversary. So when you were 30 years ago, you went to your first ever gig, which is the Joshua Tree, which so happens to be the year this year that the tour is happening again. But you kind of it kind of is in the background of your writing as well. Did you find it?
It is a bit. Without getting too emotional about it, it was my first. Well, I went to 2 gigs that summer. The summer I was 13. Went to Suzanne Vega in the Olympia, who was also excellent actually in the late May, and then I went to U2 on, I think it was the 27th of June, but don't quote me on that. It was in or around then in 1987. And to be honest with you, it certainly opened up the world of the arts to me. You know, Ireland in the 80s was a pretty, it was a quiet enough place. You know, we didn't have international celebrities, or we didn't have a huge amount to shout about. There was unemployment and things were quite tough for a lot of people. And suddenly you had this band come back and they were on the cover of Time magazine, you know, and they were kings of the world. And I remember working in a shop locally. I had a summer job in a shop on the Saturday, because they played 2 gigs Saturday and Sunday, and a woman came in and she said, "Are you not at the concert?" And I said, "It's okay, I'm going tomorrow." And she said, "That's good, the young people should all go to the concert." And I kind of got this feeling of, we should kind of open up and have a look out, you know, and just see. And so I went, and it was just an incredible day. And it did sort of make me think, this is for me, not necessarily being a rock star, even though that would be lovely too, but just this idea of the arts and entertainment and, you know, meeting people in that sense, and just that sort of passion and that element of the arts was something that I wanted to follow all the way along. So it did have an influence on me. And I still love music and love performances and love the arts.
So you're rooting around the house trying to find that t-shirt that's about this big. You know.
I don't have the t-shirt, I did have the ticket though.
Well, actually t-shirts in those days you usually bought like joint size.
And they were, but you see, you had a physical ticket because there was no buying online then. You had to send your mother, in my case, down to Golden Discs.
Get down there.
To buy the ticket.
Well, listen, before we finish up, if you were to do a pitch to the like how would you sum up, without any spoilers, what we're dealing with here, and what's the story behind this, the synopsis? One Bad Turn started with an image, and it was an image I had of 2 women in a very confined space. They used to be best friends, but now one hates the other and she wants to do her serious harm. And the book then goes back in time to discover more about their friendship and why one wants to hurt the other and what happens after that. And if you don't want to read that, you don't have a pulse, people. Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic. Good luck with everything, and the book is now in store and online, and is a cracker of a read. Perfect for summer. You know, freak yourself out behind the pool.
Exactly.
So listen, good luck with everything, and thanks for coming. Thank you.